Hello and welcome to Prepspot. In this video we are going to know about a critical and deeply concerning development stemming from the recent terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. As many of you are aware, on 22nd April 2025, a horrific act of violence claimed the lives of at least 26 tourists and left over 20 others injured in the Basaran Valley. This attack, for which the Resistance Front, or TRF, an offshoot of the Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba, has claimed responsibility, specifically targeted male Hindu tourists. In the aftermath of this tragedy, the Indian government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has announced a series of significant steps directed towards Pakistan, a move that has understandably heightened tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. This session will provide you with a comprehensive analysis of this attack, India's immediate and subsequent response, and the potential implications of these actions, all based on the information available as of today, 25th April 2025. This is a particularly crucial topic for those preparing for competitive examinations, as it touches upon issues of national security, international relations, and regional geopolitics. The Pahalgam attack is a profoundly significant event, largely due to its sheer scale and the tragic loss of life. With at least 26 fatalities, it stands as the deadliest terrorist incident India has witnessed since the devastating 2008 Mumbai attacks. However, what makes this event even more noteworthy is the swift and multifaceted response that India has initiated. This response includes the unprecedented step of holding the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance and the immediate closure of the Attari border post, actions that have not only captured national attention but have also drawn significant global scrutiny. These decisive measures underscore India's firm stance against cross-border terrorism and have, quite understandably, raised concerns in international circles about a potential escalation in the already complex and often strained relationship between India and Pakistan. Consequently, this entire episode has become a critical topic for current affairs discussions and is highly relevant for your competitive exam preparations. To fully grasp the context of this attack and India's reaction, it's essential to understand the underlying origins and the historical context. The region of Jammu and Kashmir has been a disputed territory between India and Pakistan since the partition in 1947. This long-standing dispute has been the root cause of multiple wars and persistent insurgencies in the region. Consequently, the area has become a significant flashpoint for terrorism, with many of the terrorist activities being linked to groups based in Pakistan. In this specific instance, the responsibility for the Pahalgam attack has been claimed by the Resistance Front, or TRF. It's crucial to note that TRF is widely considered to be an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, or LET, a terrorist organization that has been designated as such by the United Nations. Lashkar-e-Taiba has a long and disturbing history of carrying out major terrorist attacks in India, the most infamous being the 2008 Mumbai attacks. Furthermore, the tensions between India and Pakistan have seen a recent escalation following India's decision in August 2019 to revoke the special status previously granted to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 of its constitution. This move was followed by demographic changes in the region and a significant security crackdown, which further strained the already delicate relationship between the two neighboring nations. Let's now look at the specific details of the attack itself. It occurred on 22nd April 2025 at approximately 14:50 Indian Standard Time. The location of this tragic event was the Basaran Valley in Pahalgam, which is situated in the Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir, roughly 7 kilometers away from the main Pahalgam town. As we've already noted, the attack resulted in the deaths of at least 26 individuals, including 2 foreign tourists and an officer from the Indian Air Force hailing from Arunachal Pradesh. Tragically, over 20 other people sustained injuries. The attack was reportedly carried out by 5 militants belonging to the Resistance Front, who, as mentioned, have links to Lashkar-e-Taiba. The purported motive behind this heinous act was to resist the demographic changes that have been occurring in the Kashmir Valley following the revocation of Article 370, with the specific targeting of male Hindu tourists. The method employed by the attackers was brutal and direct. They reportedly used sophisticated weaponry, including M4 carbines and AK-47 assault rifles. Disturbingly, they were also reported to be wearing military-style uniforms and, before opening fire, asked their victims for their names and religious affiliations, indicating a clear intent to target a specific community. The security context of the area is also noteworthy. While Pahalgam is a popular tourist destination, the Basaran Valley itself is accessible primarily by foot or horseback and was not as heavily protected as some other areas, which unfortunately facilitated the attackers in carrying out their plan. In the immediate aftermath of this horrific attack, the Indian government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, convened a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security, or CCS, on 23rd April 2025. Following this high-level meeting, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri announced a comprehensive 5-pronged response specifically targeting Pakistan, based on India's long-standing allegations of Pakistan's support for cross-border terrorism. These 5 major steps are significant and warrant a detailed examination. The first major step announced was the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, IWT. This landmark treaty, brokered by the World Bank in 1960, governs the sharing of the Indus River and its various tributaries between India and Pakistan. Foreign Secretary Misri stated that the treaty was being held in abeyance until Pakistan takes concrete and verifiable steps to cease its support for cross-border terrorism. The implications of this decision are potentially far-reaching. It could allow India to restrict the flow of water to Pakistan, which relies heavily on the Indus River system for its agriculture and overall economy. It's important to recall that the Indus Waters Treaty allocated the western rivers, the Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab primarily to Pakistan, while the eastern rivers, the Ravi, Beas, and Sutlej were allocated mainly to India, with specific provisions and restrictions on their usage. The second significant step was the immediate closure of the Integrated Checkpost, ICP, at Attari. Located in Punjab, the ICP Attari is a crucial point for both trade and travel between India and Pakistan. The closure was announced with immediate effect, although provisions were made to allow those Pakistani nationals with valid endorsements to return to their country by 1 May 2025. The impact of this closure is expected to be significant, effectively halting cross-border trade and severely affecting the existing economic ties between the two nations. The Attari post, situated near Amritsar, provides essential facilities for customs, immigration, and quarantine services for both people and goods crossing the border. The third measure announced by India was a ban on Pakistani nationals under the SARC Visa Exemption Scheme, SVES. India announced the cancellation of all previously issued SVES visas to Pakistani citizens and mandated that all current holders of such visas must leave India within 48 hours, setting a deadline of 25 April 2025. The SARC Visa Exemption Scheme is an arrangement that allows certain categories of passport holders from member countries of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC, to travel to other member states without a visa for specific purposes. By cancelling these visas and imposing a strict departure deadline, India is significantly restricting the access of Pakistani nationals to India, further straining the already tense bilateral relations. The fourth major step involved the declaration of Pakistani military diplomats as persona non grata. India declared the defense military, naval, and air advisors stationed at the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi as persona non grata, giving them 1 week to leave the country, with a deadline of 30th April 2025. In a reciprocal move, India also announced the withdrawal of its own military advisors from Islamabad and the annulment of these specific advisor posts. Additionally, India decided to withdraw 5 support staff members from both the Indian High Commission in Islamabad and the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi. Declaring a diplomat persona non grata is a strong diplomatic signal, indicating that the individual is no longer welcome in the host country. This action significantly reduces the military diplomatic engagement between India and Pakistan. Finally, the fifth major step announced by India was the reduction of diplomatic staff at the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi. India unilaterally decided to reduce the staff strength of the Pakistani High Commission from 1955 to 30, with this reduction to be effective by 1 May 2025. The purpose of such a move is to limit Pakistan's diplomatic presence within India, sending a clear signal of a downgrade in the overall bilateral relationship. To better understand the implications of these actions, let's define some of the key terminologies involved. The Indus Waters Treaty, IWT, as mentioned, is the 1960 agreement brokered by the World Bank that governs the sharing of the Indus River system between India and Pakistan. The Integrated Checkpost, ICP, Attari is a crucial land customs station that facilitates trade and travel across the India-Pakistan border. The SARC Visa Exemption Scheme, SVES, is a visa-free travel arrangement for specific categories of passport holders from SARC member nations. Persona non grata is a diplomatic term used to indicate that a diplomat is no longer welcome in the host country. Cross-border terrorism refers to acts of terrorism that originate in one country and target another, often with alleged state support. Finally, abeyance signifies a state of temporary suspension or disuse. Let's also look at some key figures and numerical data related to this situation. The attack occurred on 22 April 2025 at 14:50 Indian Standard Time in the Basaran Valley, Pahalgam, Anantnag district, Jammu and Kashmir. The tragic casualties amounted to 26 killed and over 20 injured. The perpetrators were identified as 5 militants from the Resistance Front, TRF. India's response included the indefinite suspension of the IWT until Pakistan ceases cross-border terrorism, the immediate closure of the Attari ICP with a return allowance until 1 May 2025, a 48-hour departure notice for Pakistani nationals under the SVES by 25 April 2025, a 1-week notice for Pakistani military diplomats declared persona non grata to leave by 30 April 2025, and a reduction of Pakistani High Commission staff in New Delhi from 1955 to 30, effective by 1 May 2025. Several key concepts and general knowledge points are relevant here. Cross-border terrorism has been a persistent and deeply contentious issue in India-Pakistan relations, with India consistently accusing Pakistan of supporting terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba. Diplomatic retaliation, which involves actions such as suspending treaties, closing borders, and expelling diplomats, is a common tool used by states to exert pressure on another. Water diplomacy, the use of water resources as a tool in international relations, is evident in India's decision to hold the IWT in abeyance. The long-standing Kashmir conflict, a territorial dispute dating back to 1947, is often cited as a major flashpoint contributing to regional instability and the prevalence of terrorism. From a technical standpoint, the Indus Waters Treaty is a complex document that allocates the western rivers, Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, primarily to Pakistan, and the eastern rivers, Ravi, Beas, Sutlej, mainly to India. It also includes detailed provisions for the construction of dams and the usage of water resources, overseen by the Permanent Indus Commission. The Attari ICP is a significant infrastructure that handles both passenger and cargo traffic, providing essential facilities for customs, immigration, and quarantine procedures. It is also the location of the symbolic Wagha Attari border ceremony. Diplomatic protocols, such as the declaration of persona non grata, are governed by international conventions like the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961. Staff reductions in diplomatic missions can occur through mutual agreement or as a unilateral action in times of strained relations. To truly understand the nuances, some know-how in the geopolitical context of India-Pakistan relations, particularly the intricacies of the Kashmir issue, is crucial. Familiarity with international treaties like the IWT and its implications for water security in the region is also essential. Furthermore, an awareness of how countries utilize diplomatic strategies, such as visa bans and staff reductions, to signal their displeasure and exert pressure on other nations is important. Looking at the nitty-gritty details, the suspension of the IWT could potentially involve altering the flow of water or the operation of dams, although the specific measures India might take remain unclear as of 25 April 2025. The closure of the Atari ICP will undoubtedly affect the trade of various goods, including agricultural products and textiles, as well as the daily Wagah border ceremony, which is a significant cultural and symbolic event. The ban on Pakistani nationals under the SVES will impact various categories of travelers, including business persons and academics, although the exact numbers of those affected are currently unavailable. The declaration of Pakistani military advisors as persona non grata is a strong signal of distrust in Pakistan's military establishment and its alleged role in supporting terrorism. The key locations involved in these events include Pahalgam, the tourist destination in the Anantnag district of Jammu and Kashmir where the attack occurred, known for its scenic beauty. Atari, located in Amritsar, Punjab, is the site of the crucial integrated checkpost that has been closed. And, of course, New Delhi and Islamabad are the respective capitals where the significant diplomatic actions have been executed. Several key persons are central to this situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the crucial CCS meeting following the attack and reaffirmed India's strong commitment to ensuring justice for the victims. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was the official who announced the suspension of the IWT and the other significant measures taken by India. Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi was reported to have assessed the security situation in Srinagar in the aftermath of the attack. And, tragically, the victims themselves, the 26 tourists who lost their lives, including an IF officer from Arunachal Pradesh and 2 foreign nationals, are at the heart of this tragedy. Predictably, Pakistan's response to India's actions has been one of strong denial, vehemently rejecting any involvement in the Pahalgam attack and condemning India's measures as an act of war. In a retaliatory move, Pakistan has also reportedly closed its airspace for Indian flights and announced a reduction in its diplomatic presence in India, mirroring the actions taken by New Delhi. This reciprocal escalation of diplomatic tensions further underscores the severity of the situation. The implications of these developments are significant, particularly in terms of regional stability. The measures taken by both India and Pakistan risk further escalating the already volatile situation between the two nuclear-armed nations, raising concerns in the international community about a potential for broader conflict. There are also significant economic impacts. The closure of the Atari border will undoubtedly disrupt the existing trade between the two countries, and the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty could have severe consequences for Pakistan's agriculture-dependent economy. Given the gravity of the situation, the attack and India's forceful response have drawn considerable global attention, with many international observers expressing concerns about the potential for a wider conflict in the region, as reported by news outlets like CNN. From a general knowledge perspective, it's important to remember that Kashmir is a heavily militarized region with a long history of insurgency dating back to the 1980s. The relationship between India and Pakistan has been marked by deep distrust and animosity, with terrorism and the Kashmir issue being central points of contention. The Indus Waters Treaty, despite the ongoing tensions, has been a rare example of sustained cooperation between the two nations, and its current suspension marks a significant departure from this historical precedent. Finally, a note on linguistic aspects. The use of formal diplomatic terms like abeyance and persona non grata in India's official statements reflects the serious and legal nature of the government's response. Prime Minister Modi's public rhetoric, such as the commitment to pursue the terrorists to the end of the earth, as reported by the Times of India, emphasizes the government's resolve and determination to act. In conclusion, India's response to the devastating terrorist attack in Pahalgam underscores its firm stance against terrorism and its willingness to employ a range of diplomatic, economic, and strategic tools to exert pressure on Pakistan, which it accuses of supporting such activities. The suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, the closure of the vital Atari border crossing, and the significant diplomatic measures announced signal a considerable escalation in the already fraught relationship between the two countries, with potentially far-reaching and long-term implications for regional stability. For those of you preparing for competitive examinations, this entire episode, from the attack itself to India's multifaceted response and the ensuing reactions, is a critical area of study, highlighting the complex interplay of terrorism, diplomacy, and geopolitics in the South Asian context. Make sure you have a thorough understanding of the events, the terminology involved, and the potential ramifications for the region. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Answer this question in comments. The correct answer will be given heart and pinned. Lastly, we just want to let you know that we are a newly emerging online platform for competitive exams. Creating educational explainer videos like these requires a lot of effort, money, and time. If you like these videos and want us to excel and create videos in all categories of competitive exams, then you can consider supporting us with a one-time donation through the CoFE platform and also by becoming a member through Patreon. This will help us create more such informative educational videos in the competitive exams space. So, one last time, subscribe and share this channel with all your friends who are preparing for competitive exams. And also, follow us on social media platforms. The links are given in the About section of the channel and also in the video description. So, see you in the next video.